Ladies.
Thank you.
Good to go.
Well, it's International Women's Day, so I guess there's a lot of ground for us to cover. We've all been here quite some time and had different experiences here, and we've been in the industry quite a while collectively as well.
Definitely.
With different sort of experiences, different roles with our departments, with being parents, so we can cover an awful lot of ground, but equally we're similar age as well, so we've got...
We are. There's only a year between us all, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. So do you want to kick us off, I guess, individually about how we started here, or the door controls, or even in the industry in general terms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kick us off, Helen?
Okay. I stumbled.
Fell into it.
Into the ironmongery world in 2007. Moved around a couple of companies and then started working for door controls in 2015.
So it was DAI back then.
Yes.
Was that in a sales role, a spec role, or...?
It was a sales role on the trade counter.
Right. So you had the experience in the architectural ironmongery world.
Yeah, I already had my diploma and...
Oh, so you've done your guild?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So I did that with my first
Yeah.
sort of ironmongery role. And then
Moved over.
moved from a different company, then left the industry for 8 months and came crawling back.
Yes. It does get you, yes, once you're in, you're a lifer.
That's it.
You're
Yeah.
hooked.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't
And
get
you're
away
here,
too easily.
and you've been here now 9
9
years.
years.
9 years.
9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some feat. Nearly on the 10-year anniversary.
Yes. Yeah.
Exciting.
How did you come across ironmongery then, Jodie?
Well, I just come back from maternity leave, and I was looking for something that was part-time, basically. I'd worked full-time since leaving university, within different roles within marketing, and I wanted something part-time. I had a 10-month-old baby, and I didn't want to be travelling up to Port and Bournemouth each day, which, is a 2-hour drive there and back to my home. And this job came up that was looking for 20 hours a week, which felt like it fitted in nicely into my world. So, yeah, it wasn't necessarily about ironmongery. It was about marketing for me. At the end of the day, I feel like within the marketing department, you can market anything. It's the passion about marketing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about the product. You can make it as good or as bad as you kind of want it, really, at the end of the day.
The transferable skills.
Yeah,
through
completely. Yeah, I mean, I initially started off in the fashion industry, and then I've moved through different industries. So, yeah, and I've just stayed ever since. I've had 2 more babies since then, and
Yes.
yeah, I'm coming up to 7 years this year. So, yeah, it's all been exciting and different, and a roller coaster of changes.
Yes.
Yeah, and you, Louise?
I started here 2010, so it's been my 14th year here, and again I fell into it out of a convenience for I want to do Monday to Friday, I don't want to work weekends anymore, what was local, and my father-in-law purchased things through what was then Spiller, and yeah, that was the same as Helen, started off as sort of sales, administration, moved through specification and done lots of other things since, and now obviously with yourself in marketing, so it's once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
But
But it's nice that you've come from the Spiller side, you've come from the DAI side, and then I've been brought in the middle.
brought us together.
Yeah, I brought you together.
There we are.
Together.
I wasn't liked for that, but the changes that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been a weird ride as well. We've gone through different name changes, and it's really made us stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we're now in the new offices,
Yes.
that's been exciting.
So to pick up on a couple of threads there, obviously we've been here quite a while between us. So there's the longevity of being here, the changes we've seen. But equally, personally, you've both obviously had children since coming on board here.
Yep.
And obviously there's quite a few of our colleagues who are parents, but they are obviously not having to go through the birthing and maternity and returning to work. Well, if you could both talk me through, since I'm coming from a different perspective myself, not being a parent, what it's been like here for you to go through that process of having to obviously break the news to your bosses that I'm not going to be here for a little while, and then the process of going through that, coming back into work, and then doing it a second time as well, and sort of how that's progressed over the years.
Mine was a bit of a hard one because I went on maternity leave in May 2019. And yeah, I was off, and then the pandemic hit. So that was interesting. And obviously, like most people in pandemic, we fell pregnant again. I fell pregnant again, sorry. So literally just about to come off maternity leave and slowly start coming back to work, and bombshell, by the way, I'm back on maternity leave again, which I was a bit worried about, but I think because I'd already been off and Becky had come in under my maternity cover, she was doing absolutely amazing. They were definitely going to keep her, and obviously she's just, doing the role in her own way. It just felt like it was not a big deal.
But you did say you were worried. What were you worried
about? I was worried because obviously I was having to take more time off. And you worry that people will judge you. They will, why are you off again? Why do you have to take so long? Because obviously, because it all was around the pandemic time as well, it wasn't the best time, I suppose. You just feel guilty. You're not coming back doing your job. Obviously, I was worried that maybe Becky would take my job. Okay. So that's another problem as well. You're thinking to yourself, is the company going to grow? So are they going to require more people? Are you going to be replaced? Previous job I was in, when I came back from maternity leave after having my first child, they basically said you either come back full-time or not at all. Well, I didn't want to come back full-time, hence why I come here, and it was a part-time role. So there's that worry that, they could turn around and say, well, no, we want you back in the office, we want you to do this, and we want you to do that. But I had multiple children then, and child cover and childcare was a lot more difficult, getting 3 kids into nurseries and school and all that.
Yeah, it's a big juggling act.
A massive juggling act compared to having just the one. That it was like mum or nursery. Whereas it was that was my main concern, is obviously and the mum guilt. It's a real thing, mum guilt. It's horrible. Like my kids are not very well at the moment, and you feel like do you send them into school and they're not feeling very well, or do you keep them at home? But then means that you have to stay at home, and you always feel like it's always on the mum. It's always on the mum.
Yeah, do you share that sentiment as well about perception of time off, concern coming back, and then equally the guilt? Do you resonate with that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my first maternity leave, I'd only been with the company 7 months when I first went on maternity leave.
That's right.
So I actually started the role expecting, and then so I only worked full time for those 7 months. Had my 9 months of maternity, came back, and I mean, I can't fault the way I was basically the flexibility I've been given about selecting what hours I could do and things like this, and that was wonderful.
Yes, I agree on that.
But there's the guilt in both directions, because there's the guilt because you want to perform well at your job and work well for the company that you work for, but then you've also got to be mum and your
wife and cook
and friend and daughter and sister and all the other hats that we put on.
Yeah.
So it's a
24/7 job.
Yes.
So all parents feel, all mums feel.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're like me in terms of you also want a career. You also want to you've got that drive that you want to build upon what you've learned and all that time you spent learning and education and stuff like that. You still want to be able to have that career, but at the same time you also want to be a mum and be there for the sports days and the Christmas nativities and stuff like that.
Yes.
But like you say, the flexibility here has allowed that to be considered, and it has made it easier.
Yeah.
Do you feel like do you see that your male colleagues feel or experience similar, or do you think this is very female specific with the weight of expectation or perception of having to work that much harder to be at the same or a similar level to male colleagues who are also parents?
I think it's a female issue. I think mums tend to be the default parent.
Yes.
Regardless, the children will come to us.
If they're poorly, they're sick, they've hurt themselves.
Yeah, they will literally walk past their dad. So and
Yeah.
and I think there's that maternal guilt and things like this, which makes you more likely to be the one who takes the time off work
Yeah.
or has
Okay.
to be a bit more flexible with things. And it does have a knock-on effect in the fact in your career.
Yeah. I do think the male colleagues here that are parents themselves probably understand that, because they're, you know, the mothers of their children probably have the same issues.
Yeah.
But those that don't have children, possibly I mean, I don't know about you. Obviously, Louise, you haven't got children. And I remember before I had children of looking at the older women that had children and being like, well, you know, how do they fit it all in? What do they do? Maybe they need to prioritise this, maybe they need to prioritise that. And I don't know if that's how you feel, but I remember feeling like that as a young 20-year-old plus, you know, thinking, well, what if you want a career, you have a career. You don't try and do both. But obviously, times are changing and things are different now. And this, I mean, for all the bad things of COVID and the pandemic, there's a lot of good things that have happened in terms of flexible working and stuff. And people now can do that and want that. And it's made it a lot easier for working parents and for women to get back into the working place.
Yeah, so the flexible hours, but equally through pandemic we had to hybrid work.
Yes.
So the option to work from home as well, I think it's had a benefit to everybody.
But businesses know that we can do it. There was this fear that, you know, can't keep an eye on your staff, you can't make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing. But because it had to happen, it's obviously made it a lot easier for people. You know, so in those situations of my child's ill, my child's poorly, I can choose to work from home. And still have my child at home with me. So, because it is possible, we did it for over a year.
Yeah, because it is, you'll be judged for whatever you do, whether you choose to give more of your time to becoming a more dedicated parent or to your career. And obviously society would have us try and think that we can do it all, but I think we know that that isn't physically possible, whether that's through time or mental load or anything else. But I think there are people who will judge you when you go, actually, no, I'm going to need to step back. I need to, you know, dedicate my time to my children, and that's what I want to do. Or vice versa, do you become the primary breadwinner for your family, and you know the childcare is done elsewhere, or you it's where you put your time and your effort. And I think I don't think you can win either way.
No,
is my perception of it. That is that's the thing.
But what do you feel in terms of, obviously, you know, female in this industry as well, and haven't gone down the parent route? Do you feel like there's a pressure on you to be like, oh, are you going to be next? Or, you know, what are your thoughts on kind of, you know, your expectations? Because obviously you haven't got the excuse sometimes to be like, oh, I've got a nativity play or sports day, do you know what I mean? But also at the same time, you're a woman and you have different types of issues, do you know what I mean? So
over the years it has been asked, so when are you the expectation of a woman of a certain age, therefore, you know, you must therefore have children, especially because I'm married. It's, well, that's what you do. But equally, if you're a career person instead, because again, back to that either or, should I be progressing through the ranks rather than just doing a very steady role and not be looking to, you know, progress to directorship or what have you? So again, there's the weight of expectation around parent or not. And I certainly don't feel that when people have to have time off for their children, I don't think it's like a smoker going, well, I don't smoke, but I don't get 3 fag breaks every day. It's there's not that judgment. I think there's a much better understanding across the board, whether that is gender or age or sort of, your own personal experience. I don't begrudge anybody for having time off for their children. It's just the circumstance you find yourself into, the choices you've made, and the same with me. It's, like I said, and productivity wise, working from home, hybrid working, in the office full time, as long as you're getting your job done, how you go around that, just that's for me something that's huge change over the years being here, especially door control specific. We were very rigid within our industry. It is quite set and quite traditional. So the fact that we've got a good breadth of age, of gender, of hybrid roles, or flexible hours as well. It's not a set 8 till 5 anymore. We can do what works for us as individuals, but we're contributing as best we can, and we're showing that it's working. So that's a big change for me over the years, is that flexibility.
So we have certainly broken a mould in terms of that traditional style. It definitely feels more like a fun place to work, because there's flexibility, there's more opportunities. Everybody feels on the same level. There's no hierarchy of you're beneath me and you're this and you haven't got the right qualifications.
So do you feel that there has been investment for yourselves for development where you want it as equally amongst the rest of your colleagues, you through gender, especially being off the maternity? Do you think you've ever missed opportunities because you made certain choices personally? Big question, I know, big question.
That is a big question. I'm just trying to think back. I think in terms of the opportunity is there, it might be more a budget issue of not being able to do it, or it might be a case of it doesn't fit in with our plans, the business plans or what have you. For example, like if we want to go to like some trade events, or if I needed to go away for a few days, the problem there is then the childcare side of it. It's then the personal side of it. It's not necessarily the company not allowing me to do it. It's more a case of, okay, I can't go for 2 nights because my husband's working, or my parents are not around, or it's more those issues.
Yeah.
Whereas if the logistics of it. Whereas I do feel though, if my husband turned around and said to me, I'm going away for 2 nights of work, it wouldn't be an issue.
No.
Okay.
They wouldn't need to think.
No, and he also, and it is, but then that's, I suppose, I've allowed that to happen in a way.
Yeah, it's established behaviour, isn't it? It's difficult to break those kind of
it's
habits.
Like in, just generally day to day, if something's happening or the kids have got clubs or what have you, I will be the one to organise the logistics of everything. You know, if my parents are picking up or his parents are picking up, or whatever the situation might be, it will be me that's organising it, and I just got to ring them and say, you need to be here at this certain time.
Yeah.
So I suppose that, in a sense, is I've allowed that to happen because I'm that way inclined anyway. I like things organised. I like to know what I'm doing. Obviously, having 3 children, I need to have that organisation in the week.
Do you feel that's the same for you? Does your dynamic work like that as well? That if there was a childcare issue, that it would impact you at work?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. We try, if there's sickness and things like this, we try and even it out. But because of my husband's job and what he's required to do, and it's not always possible for him to take the time off. It's easier for me, if you can say easier.
Does his work make it difficult for him? Would they turn around and be like, well, why can't Helen be the one to take the time
at all.
off? That's good.
No, not
because that's sometimes an issue, isn't it, in terms of
yeah.
our jobs really, our team, our business is very good in terms of that respect.
Yeah.
But your husbands might not be so understanding and being like, well, why you got to pick up the flat when your wife's at home, or when your wife works part-time?
No, it's generally quite good. And I think that's because he works in a very sort of female-orientated office.
Right.
Within the organisation. So he is working with other mums.
Yes.
And they understand.
Yeah.
I think as long as you've got that sort of understanding, then and he gets the job done, so that's fine.
Yeah.
They're quite happy.